Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. Expect a price shock with your next power bill, with a 9.5% price hike coming from next month. The state government is hoping its financial supports will cushion the blow, as opponents point the finger at policy.
The cost of living crunch is about to get worse.
In the midst of a very cold Tasmanian winter, hearing that energy prices are going to be increasing by 9.5% will be a real blow.
From July 1, Tasmanian energy prices will rise, adding $200 to the average household's annual bill.
It's tough. Cost of living is a very big issue for Tasmanians.
It follows a large bump last year, totalling 22% over 2 years.
That's massive, and it's going to hurt Tasmanian households, particularly as they deal with a cost of living crisis that's being inflicted on them.
And we wanted to recognise that, and that's why we've provided the energy relief support.
6 out of 10 households are eligible for the National Energy Bill Relief Scheme, which provides a $250 credit per year. Other hardship schemes are in place, but many Tasmanians will have to wear the increase.
We would like to see an energy cap. We need to see an increased investment in energy efficiency initiatives right across the board, but particularly in social housing.
The economic regulator notes that Tasmania's increase is much lower than other states. However, we're still exposed to nationwide increases, with a government policy to leave the national market abandoned.
The Liberals promised that they'd step into a volatile market. You can't get more volatile than this. Like, what are they waiting for?
We've moved on from there. We are putting in place the best policy options for Tasmanians, which is to grow our economy.
For more on what's developed in politics today, we're joined by state political reporter Josh Duggan. Josh, the government's endured another day of questions about the stadium.
That's right, Kim. The Premier's pled the case for his government's transparency, doubling down and saying that they have produced all documents related to the stadium, except for those that are Cabinet in confidence. In a sign of their precarious position, independent John Tucker voted against the government twice today, even backing a Greens motion that would have called on the Premier to produce a list of all of those confidential documents had it passed. Of course, the government is reliant on Mr Tucker's vote to stay in power, but he's ramping up the rhetoric, warning an early election is not off the cards.
I don't think they realise the position they're in at the moment, and they need to, as me and Lara have said right from the start, we want some transparency to happen for people in Tasmania.
Labor has already signalled they'll continue to pile on the pressure tomorrow. The Premier will just be hoping to survive, with it being the last sitting day before the House takes a 6-week winter break. Kim?
Okay, thank you very much there, Josh Duggan, our state political reporter. Meanwhile, there are growing fears the heritage of Hobart Sullivan's Cove will be tarnished by the proposed Macquarie Point Stadium. A local architect has released an image of what the build might look like based off the government's basic dimensions. It's part of a billboard campaign that will run for a month to give Tasmanians a glimpse of what they say if this is the stadium's true scale.
The 40-metre height limit that the government's using is a minimum height. It's comparable to Marvel Stadium, and if you watch the cricket recently, even Marvel, they hit the roof regularly with the cricket balls. It needs a structure.
No one's aware that that's the reality, and because it's been portrayed as being something else, that aerial view at night from so afar.
The government's called it another grubby attempt to mislead Tasmanians, with a key view analysis available on the State Growth website. The concerning rise of vaping in Tasmanian schoolyards has been a focal point of a statewide drug and alcohol conference. Advocates say vapes are now overtaking cigarette use among teenagers, with calls for more education to deal with the escalating problem.
It's the quick hit of nicotine wreaking havoc among our young people. E-cigarettes have become readily available and regularly used.
In our experiences, so many of the assumptions and the mistruths that the young people use to justify their vaping are often quite far from what the evidence is starting to tell us.
The prevalence of vaping formed part of discussions for advocates in the prevention space who gathered at the Alcohol, Tobacco and Drug Council conference.
We're bringing together everybody for 2 days to look at research, to connect, to increase our knowledge and understanding of contemporary issues.
Tasmanian schools are among those battling the problem in the community.
Traditionally, we've run a cigarette type workshop, a nicotine workshop in the schools. The content of that's now shifted to be about 80% focus on vaping because it is such a challenge for people running schools.
Methamphetamine use also continues to be of concern for leading psychiatrists in the state.
The indications are that it's increased a lot in terms of not so much overall use, but in terms of the way it's used and the purities.
With a push for greater investment into treatment programs to rehabilitate those struggling with addiction.
We do have a gap in opportunities for people to seek detox or withdrawal programs if they seek to choose it. And we do know that that is an issue that we have for young people as well.
As the fight to bring better outcomes for the future continues. Grace Evans, 7 Tasmania News.
The man accused of shooting dead his former son-in-law in Campbelltown in 2009 did not have the motive or the physical ability to carry out the crime, according to his lawyer. The defence for Cedric Jordan also asked the jury to consider how well they could remember a typical day in their life if they were asked years down the track.
August 1997, the death of Princess Diana.
Princess of Wales.
September 2010.
But it's happened!
The AFL's famous drawn grand final. Cedric Jordan's defence used these examples when telling the jury, you may remember all the details of where you were when those moments happened, but what about what you had for breakfast that day? Or what you did afterwards. The defence told the jury how police asked Mr Jordan to give specific details of his movements years after Mr Barker's death, alleging this is why there were perceived inconsistencies or only short responses. His lawyer describing Mr Jordan as a man of few words, encouraging jury members to ask yourself, what would your life look like if someone went through every aspect of it with a fine-tooth comb? I suggest this whole case is a clear example of what makes sense in a spreadsheet or matrix doesn't add up in real life. The defence disputed the alleged motive for the murder, saying Cedric Jordan didn't really hate Shane Barker and wouldn't have gone to the extent of killing him. What you say behind someone's back isn't always how you'd act. The defence told the jury a man in his 50s or 60s like Mr Jordan with a bad back would have struggled to carry out such a crime. The contentious chicken run to KFC Kings Meadows at the time of Mr Barker's death was also touched on. The prosecution said it was an alibi. The defence asked the jury not to have a city-centric view, especially for a retired couple with time on their hands, happy to drive a distance for a Sunday night treat. When you live in Swansea, you drive to Launceston for your big grocery shop, Campbelltown for your ammunition, you get your car fixed in Hobart. Although the prosecution alleges Cedric and Nolene Jordan are equally culpable of Shane Barker's murder, they are being represented individually. That means tomorrow Nolene's defence counsel will make its closing statements to the jury, which can then make its verdict in the long-running trial. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
A former Tasmanian Chief Magistrate has told a parliamentary inquiry he's been interested in changing the criminal justice system for 30 years. The admission on day 2 of a hearing into Tasmanian adult imprisonment and youth detention matters. The committee heard it would be advantageous to look at how systems operate in other states and to remove short and sharp jail sentences.
They learn things, they learn how to cope. If they can't pick a lock when they go in, they can pick one when they come out. Yeah. That sort of thing.
Meet up with their friends.
Meet up with their friends. And it becomes a bit of a badge of courage. You know, I did 3 months.
Mr Hill adding if another prison was established, it would need to be rehabilitation-based with education and counselling facilities on site. An Australian first is being rolled out across the streets of Launceston, with Beam introducing fixed e-scooter prices. Riders will now pay a flat rate of $4 for every 20 minutes, replacing the $1 to unlock and per minute payment scheme. The company hopes the initiative will entice longer rides without the additional cost. The new measures kick in today. Tasmanian devils infected with deadly facial tumours are becoming more resilient to the disease. That's according to new research undertaken by the University of Tasmania. The study has revealed the disease is evolving to coexist with the population, with researchers saying it's very unlikely to drive the beloved marsupial to extinction, but it also means the condition will not disappear. There's a new push to encourage the next generation to become more involved in the community by volunteering. The once popular service club Interact is being reinvigorated by Rotary, and now 2 new branches have been established, the first in 14 years.
The school bell rings on a new era for Exeter High. 24 students have spent months working out the details of their new Interact club.
It's amazing to work with such a big group because we can thrive off each other's ideas.
It's been a long process, but I think the result has been really quite inspiring to see.
The Rotary-sponsored groups support young people to give back to their community. For member Samantha, it's all about being able to make a difference.
I think it's important for young people to do community service so that they can understand that there truly is value in helping others.
Seasoned Rotarians have taken the intrepid teens under their wings. They're helping action a long list of projects, both locally and further afield.
I'm a great believer in youth, and right at this point in time I think it's important that we have youth understanding what it is to do great things in the community.
Hutchins students were given their charter last week, the first club in almost a decade and a half.
There's never been one in the south before. So so it's pretty exciting for me as I finish off in my year.
It's hoped a third club will be founded this year.
It's our new way of thinking. Youth is the future of all service organisations.
Annie Green, 7 Tasmanian News.
Popping up across Australian gardens are tributes to Legacy's 100th anniversary. Lindisfarne's Anzac Park hosts the nation's first mass planting of a grevillea variety celebrating the centenary.
The red and orange flowers which resonate with our symbology of our torch.
It'll be a fantastic fundraiser for Legacy. They do so much to those that have, to the families of those that have died on active service.
The plants are available at Bunnings Nurseries. Dozens of Tasmania's best artists and creators will be on hand this weekend as Niche Market returns to Inverell on Saturday. It's the first time exhibiting for new group Tribon Art Collective, the 7-strong team showing off everything from recycled sculpture to painting and ceramics.
Exciting, yes, great space. I've been to other spaces, just as a purchaser, but not to participate. So,
around 2,000 people are expected to attend the free event.
We try and have a really broad range of products so that there's really something for everyone.
20% of all sales supports St Giles. And the next generation of Tasmanian artists is taking centre stage as part of a new exhibition, Rise, at Launceston's QV Mag. The works of 10 budding creators will be on display, with the initiative designed to support the careers of emerging talent.
It gives us a goal, which is really nice, a local-based goal with a local institution, which I think is important. It also, it's a nice confidence builder, because I think when you're just starting off and you're emerging, you're unsure if you're doing the right thing or if you're going on the right path.
Working as an artist is something that, as you're emerging, it can be very difficult. So we want to be able to nurture that talent from wherever it comes from.
The finishing touches are being made ahead of the grand opening on Friday. A new tourism experience has just landed in Tasmanian waters, bringing a chance to explore the southwest wilderness in style. It's hoped the $3 million Seaplane will boost tourism numbers back to pre-COVID levels.
It's a state-of-the-art seaplane taking Tasmanian tourism to new heights.
This is a Cessna Caravan. It was built in 2017. It's powered by a Pratt & Whitney turbine engine, which is one of the most reliable engines in the world.
The new wing's owned and operated by Above and Beyond in collaboration with On Board.
We thought we needed more access by plane straight to our vessel, and we figured the seaplane would be what would work really well.
That vessel is the Odalisque 3, docked in Port Davey, the plane touching down 100 metres from its front door.
We'll pick them up in the dinghy first, and then when they're down there, they get that experience of either climbing up mountains or just climbing up hills or experiencing the rivers.
It's an area that is truly special because of that. It's been conserved and it's been showcased through these products. So it's not an easy place to get to, and that's what makes it really attractive.
It's one of several trips the Seaplane will embark on with capacity for 10 people on board.
Everyone's very comfortable. It's quite a quiet machine, so there's lots of chatting amongst people airborne, which is great because we can discuss the features that we're flying past.
The tourism experts confident the service will be a flying success with their interstate and international customers returning to pre-COVID levels. Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
Another Jack Jumpers import is stepping away from the club. Rashad Kelly is the latest fan favourite to part ways after playing a vital role in the Tasmanian team's second season. Kelly averaged 12 points and 6 rebounds per game, and he was also nominated for the league's best sixth man. The Jack Jumpers have thanked Kelly for his contribution to the side. The Launceston Tornadoes are gearing up for a must-win home game this weekend. The Tawns will look to keep their finals hopes alive when they host the Nunawading Spectres at Elphin on Saturday night. The team is confident it can still emerge victorious without Keely Frolling, who's playing in the Opal's FIBA Women's Asia Cup side.
The last time we saw Nunawading was in the preliminary final last year, and that was a really tough physical battle. We'll match up really well with them, so it's exciting, and if we keep playing the way we are, we'll definitely get a win there.
The Tawns must win every match from here to make the top 8. Meanwhile, the Hobart Chargers will be looking to capitalise on their previous success against Nunawading when the Spectres play in the south. Both teams will be chasing the win in what will be a crucial clash, with the men's side eager to lift its young talent.
Step up, guys got to knock shots down. Can't give up back.
4 out of our last 6 at home. Again, we're only a couple of wins off a top 8 finish, but we've got to really focus on making sure that we continue to get these kids on the floor.
Both matches will be played at the Hobart Netball and Sports Centre. Tip-off at 6 o'clock on Friday. And the Nunawading men will wrap up their tour of Tasmania with a trip to Ulverston. The Northwest Thunder will look to use their home court advantage, needing to win 5 out of the next 6 games to make finals. The Thunder is still without Venky Joyce, but a hopeful Ben Woolley can make his return. And those wanting to head along to that game be there Saturday night from 7:30.
Good evening. 11, the common temperature today for Hobart, Launceston, Devonport and Burnie. St Helens and Smithton, the state's top with 13. The Islands, Maria Island, Strawn and Friendly Beaches all 12. Low Head 11, 9's the top for Grove. 8 for Bushy Park, Lyweenie 5 with -5 overnight and just a top of 5 degrees today. The satellite shows low-level cloud about the state with thick high-level cloud approaching. Snow continues on Ben Lomond and parts of the Central Plateau. A mid to high-level cloud band extends from the Kimberley region of WA to Victoria, Tasmania and New South Wales. Speckled cloud lies over the southwest of WA. The rest of the country is relatively cloud-free. Tomorrow, a cold front forms over eastern SA, connected to a complex low over the Bight, as a trough runs over Bass Strait and a high-pressure system sits over the western and eastern coasts of the mainland. To coastal waters, east to northeasterly 10 to 20 knots in the west, increasing to 15 to 25 knots in the afternoon and reaching up to 30 knots in the east. Mild conditions are in the remainder for the state. There is a strong wind warning for east of Flinders Island, upper east coast and the lower east coast. Tomorrow, Hobart, Cygnet and New Norfolk all 11 with showers. Another frost in store for Launceston and Campbelltown, Devonport 11 and showers. Burnie 11 with showers, Strawn and Smithton 12. Rain for St Helens and Swansea, both 13. Increasing rain for Fingal, 11 is the top there. Friday, rain about the east, showers elsewhere, expecting patchy morning frost about the south. Saturday, showers about the north, extending statewide in the evening with possible thunderstorms about the north and west coasts in the afternoon. Sunday, showers about the north and west, mainly fine elsewhere with possible thunderstorms across the west. Capital cities tomorrow, Darwin 31 and sunny conditions. Brisbane partly cloudy, Canberra can expect a frost and developing showers and 14 for Melbourne. And Hobart, partly cloudy, 6 degrees. Launceston, mostly cloudy, 5 degrees. And Devonport, mostly cloudy also, and 7. Now, Kim, chilly conditions expected for the annual nude solstice swim at Long Beach in Sandy Bay tomorrow. And if you're attending, don't forget your birthday suit.
Nice one. What about shoes? Do you need those? It's going to be very chilly.